Morning, everyone. Morning. Morning, 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 morning. Let's take a moment. Let's just take a moment, eh? Because you're rushing about all the time, aren't you? And I am. And excellent. Four square breathing, same thing. Four in, hold for four, 4 out, hold for four, four in, 4 out. All that kind of thing. Really exciting. It creates a mind body loop, which I'm going to plunge my coffee, which offers you a calming reaction from your body. You're physically signaling to your body that it's time to be calm. I do it, and you can do it wherever you want. I nearly always do it when I'm stood in front of a group ready to teach or ready to talk or whatever, because I find that quite anxiety raising. So a bit of breathing beforehand. Um, because our psychology kind of messes us up, doesn't it? Doesn't matter how much I prepare for stuff, I'm still left with inner doubt whenever I stand up to do something. And well, your psychology is funny, isn't it? Right? If you bought your psychology, if you brought if we bought our psychological makeup at Sainsbury's and unpacked it and then started to use it, we'd take it back, wouldn't we? We'd take it back and we go, this is faulty. It keeps telling me stuff that I don't want to hear, and it keeps suggesting things that I shouldn't be kind of doing. I should be doing other things. When I try to do this thing, it's suggesting that I check my phone for Facebook, or it's checking that I do that, get me to check this or the other, isn't it? So our psychology sometimes just kind of conspires against us, doesn't it? And I suppose a lot of what I talk about is just about switching to more kind of positive kind of self talk. I suppose self discipline in a way, as well, and um, the people at Liberator on their podcast talk about know yourself to lead yourself, and I think that's really important. I think it's really important to kind of understand how you tick through self reflection, through journaling, through going for a walk and just thinking about your day and all that kind of thing. And I was I was reading this. I think I've mentioned this book before. Henry David Thoreau, Walden. It's about, I won't just start. It's about his journey into the wilderness where he lives without much stuff, I suppose, which is what attracted me to the idea of the book. And he says this: public opinion is a weak tyrant compared with our own private opinion. I thought that's really powerful, isn't it? We think that what's really influential in how we think and how we operate is what other people think, what the public think about us, if you like. But actually, the tyrant, he suggests, is our own private opinion of ourselves, and that's so true, isn't it? That's so true. I live like a lot of people do. I live with imposter syndrome. Einstein, wasn't it Einstein lived with imposter syndrome? And I think it's really important to acknowledge. I think I read this somewhere that people who experience imposter syndrome generally are the best people, because they just know there's so much more to know. They know they haven't figured it all out. So they're constantly on this knife edge of, do I know enough stuff? I probably don't. And the reality is there's so much information out there that you probably don't know enough stuff. So you've got to, and that's you know, that development of self, isn't it? To kind of like figure out more about yourself and more about the world that you live in, that person and environment thing. Figure out how you operate in each environment, and figure out how to operate well, I suppose. Anyway, he says it's an old book, so I apologise for this. What a man thinks of himself, but everybody really. What a man thinks of himself, that it is which determines, or rather indicates, his fate. So whatever you think about yourself determines, or at least indicates, your fate. And I've read that in so many places. I've read that in so many places that it must have resonance with lots of people. Self-talk. You become what you tell yourself. That kind of thing. We know that environment influences us as well. We tell ourselves things about ourselves, but through our environment, that generates self-talk. If your environment you're working in is messy, it generates negative self-talk about, well, I must just be a messy person. Well, no, you can be any sort of person you want to be, really. So we need to start thinking, positive self-talk, because this faulty psychology we've got is actually hugely um, uh, manipulative and is able to be manipulated. And a lot of the things I talk about, like visualization, is one of those key things that I love to talk about. Visualizing yourself going through your day and having a successful day is really important. So there you go, a little short one for today, because I'm going to crack on with some stuff. But I suppose let's be gentle with ourselves. Let's be nice to ourselves. Let's think positively about ourselves, because in thinking positively about ourselves, that will generate in turn more positive thinking. It doesn't overcome all the humps and bumps in the road, but if we generate positive thinking about ourselves, we become more positive. I suppose it's a bit of a can-do attitude, is it? Maybe I'm overstating that. Maybe you kind of think, well, yeah, I can do this. Yeah, David Allen says, we can do anything, but we can't do everything. We can only do so much, but we can do anything. Any one thing we can do. And thinking about productivity, we can't do everything all the time, so we can do anything. Because we're pretty special things in our entirety as human beings. Anyway, have good Tuesdays, and go off and know yourself, um, and experience yourself. Sometimes we don't um, examine ourselves fully. Who said, which one of the philosophers was, an examined life is a wasted life. Let's examine our lives, examine ourselves, and be positive about what's going on in there. Okay, take care.